Okay, and just like that, we are live. Welcome to the kitchen, everybody. My name is Rob. I am the host of the All Around Growth podcast. Welcome to the YouTube stream. Welcome to the live stream via Facebook. And welcome to Twitch, wherever you are watching from. I'm glad you're here. Today we are packing a batch of traditional sauerkraut. And I just decided to keep this book here as a reference because first and foremost, it's a great book and we use and reference that book a lot. So if fermenting is your thing, then the Kraut Guy and I would highly recommend picking up a copy of this. The Kraut Guy, speaking of the Kraut Guy, that is, the Kraut Guy loves his newspapers, and we love that he loves his newspapers because the newspapers facilitate ease of cleanup during packing, and anything that makes cleanup just a little bit easier interests me. So give me a sec while I lay out these newspapers and you'll see why in just a moment. And this is really an easy thing to do to live stream because packing days are really no big deal. It's pretty self-explanatory. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually getting the batch of kraut that we are going to pack. So you'll see everything from the packing process to how everything is taken care of, even how we test the pH. And this isn't really all that exciting, but, oops, it looks like I hope that this microphone is working. So if anybody is watching out there, let me know, because I've got the microphone operating in a little bit of a different way. For those of you who are curious about the whole microphone setup, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section there, and in the interim I'm going to try and get some music playing before we get too far into things. We're having a bit of an issue with our Bluetooth connectivity here. So many devices. All right. Back to the testing of this pH. All right, so when you're testing pH of your sauerkraut, I'll demonstrate this here on the action cam, but what we use are these things. We use Lab Supplies pH strips. That is the brand, Lab Rat Supplies rather. These seem to work well for us. Do we have any particular reason why we use them? No. All right. So everything looks good to me. Everything smells good. For anyone that's interested out there, this is what we're looking at generally, and what we see is something more often than not that resembles that. So we've got a pH of somewhere right around 3, not quite 4, and that's exactly where you want it to be. So with that said, we'll go ahead and document that later after the batch, but for now, we'll go ahead and get everything squared away to be packed up. And what I'm doing right now, for anybody that's curious, is just giving this thing that we drain the kraut on a quick wipe with a sanitary wipe. Even though it's clean and the kraut's not really going in here, it sure doesn't hurt to give everything a wipe down and maintain an extra level of sanitary practices, especially when doing so at a commercial level, right? So at this point, we remove our follower and our spacer, and I forgot to link to it in the description. I will have to continue to remind myself to do so, but you know what, I'll go ahead and do this. What we're looking at right here is a ball fermentation spring. These are great. They sell these in kits, and they're highly recommended. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to scrape off just the top layer. There's nothing wrong with it, but it was oxidized, and it looks like this is probably what Uncle Rob here is going to have for dinner. Why am I separating it? Let's see if I can. Once I dump this out here and we are ready to jar this up, I'll see if I can bring that oxidized kraut over and do a side-by-side demonstration. And what you will see is a difference in color between what we're seeing here and what we're seeing on the very top. And it's not even the very top. I'll demonstrate here on the action cam in just a second with my trusty spoon here. But on the on the inside of the rim, right here where the spoon is. The inside of the rim right here. It's hard to tell on the camera, but right at the very top, that layer, that little, it's not even a layer, it's like a ring that was above the plate, which serves as our follower. That part was not submerged below brine, and subsequently had a little bit of an off color to it, and did not remain anaerobic, which is why everything else is the way it is, and why it's so easy to know when you've got a batch of ferments that go south. Because if you've got a batch of ferments that go south and you've got a lot of mold, the bad kind of mold, your whole batch is spoiled all the way through. There is no, I mean, it's spoiled the whole way through, and there's no misunderstanding it, and it's it being okay. Okay, so at this point, all we do, we prepare our scale, we tear it out, and just for an extra layer of cleanliness in the name of timeliness, and when I spill out a little bit of extra brine, I like to have an extra paper towel sitting here. You'll see why in just a moment. So with that, guys, we are ready to begin packing the sauerkraut. And the action cam really isn't, we're not really seeing much here, so I think what I'm going to do is reposition the old action cam here and see if that provides a little bit of a better shot. Now, this is going to be kind of stupid because I'm going to end up getting in my own way here. But hey, we're doing what we can do for the sake of content creation. And so continues the rest of the process. If anybody's watching out there, feel free to drop a comment, say hello, let me know where you're from, and let me know if you have any questions about the process of making and or packing sauerkraut. In this case, a traditional kraut consisting of cabbage, salt, and thyme. Dad likes to say nature. And indeed, it is nature, because the way that things work with regard to lactofermentation is naturally. It's wild fermentation. And so this is how all of our krauts are packed by hand. Gone through, and one last little QA pick right at the end to get out any large little bits that we missed during the making, which you could, if you were curious about, you could see that process in yesterday's live stream as we made lemon dill. Although the audio quality was quite poor yesterday, my hope is that the audio quality is better today, and we will see either as people comment or as I give this a little review after the fact. Nevertheless, we will continue to stream more from the kitchen. Mom and Dad are certainly okay with it, and who knows, depending on how this goes with the podcast and all around growth, we may include some of this kind of streaming activity on and with the farm channel, depending on how things go. Not entirely sure. Kind of fleshing out that discussion with Mom and Dad as I engage in a lot of this new activity right here together with you. We're figuring it all out together. So, thank you for hanging in there with me all during this time, especially those of you who watch and listen to the show and have over the past couple of years. You have my unending gratitude for your support. And this is just kind of a natural and fun extension of the podcast. Still interesting to me to think that live streaming is going to be something of interest. It'll certainly be interesting when we have more people engage, and I'm doing this on a more consistent basis. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I suppose on mundane days like this, packing days where there's not a whole lot of thinking to do, just some periodic weighing of a container to make sure that everything jives. But these would be opportune times to have a conversation and engage in dialogue about all manner of things. So I guess in the name of doing that, rather than just sit here in silence, watch me pack traditional sauerkraut, we could talk about a little bit of the episode this morning's podcast episode, which was titled TikTok, Why I'm on It, and other social media platforms. And it was a good episode. I enjoyed this morning's episode. Ended up going in a couple directions that I wasn't really intending. And for, I guess, the second day in a row, I did something different with the podcast. I live streamed the show and then downloaded the files, both the video just as a backup, and then the audio file, which I then imported into Buzzsprout after fiddle farting around with it like I normally do in the mornings when I listen to a show. So I was able to get the intro and outro music in there like I like to have. Now, one of the nice things about doing that was that I'm still able to produce the podcast in a similar manner as I was before without a whole lot of additional inputs. But at the same time, I'm able to have four different outputs at a minimum by streaming the content, and at a minimum, and I just mean, and it goes to YouTube, and then it goes to, my copy, Twitch, Twitter, or Facebook, whatever I'm doing, and so the idea of utilizing StreamYard in conjunction with the podcast, if you have the ability to do so in front of a computer, it's genius. And the idea of this, having multiple cameras set up like this, I wish I could take credit for this idea, but this idea comes from Brian Norton, aka Scramblin', over there at Food Forest Farms in Washington, provisioner of high quality coffees, various cannabinoid products, Squatch Fest 2023, a solstice celebration of music, art, and light, and also assisting with the live stream of this packing of kraut. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and get that rolling. Brian was the one that helped me generate some ideas with regard to live streaming and what you're seeing right now on the action cam. So thank you. Many thanks to Brian and Food Forest Farms for all of the help and ideas and support, man. It is very much appreciated. So here we go. We are 8 jars into the batch, and we are about a quarter of the way through right now. As you can see, I'm still picking certain large chunks out, things that didn't make it past the initial packing, certain outer pieces, things that are perfectly edible, but things that I just don't particularly like big, larger chunks of core. Try to get those out of there when I can. Just that little extra, measure of care, I think, makes a difference in the end product, because I know that when I have products that are made, produced with the same level of care, I feel like they're better, period. Like, I don't know if the care and the love that goes into the production of food, cultivation of plants, vegetables, if that translates into nutritional value, that's debatable. But I know that I'm passionate about what I do, as is everyone here in my family and everyone here that works on my family's land. Cody, the people that work with Cody, Dave. Everyone's passionate about what we do. That's why we do it. And we want to continue to work with people who share that same passion, that same enthusiasm. And chances are, if you're watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Chances are you share that same passion and enthusiasm in whatever way is appropriate for the context of your life at this moment. And if not, then it's certainly in the back of your mind, and that's something that you're working towards, right? So it looks like there's maybe one or two people out there watching. I'm curious if you're in a position to drop a comment and just say, hey, and let me know how the audio sounds. Like I said, I've got a different mic today, and I am curious to see how this audio stream works out compared to the audio stream the other day. And you know what? It would help if I actually made this so I could see a comment. Looks like someone out there thinks this is yummy. Hello, everybody out there in Facebook. It does look yummy. And as a matter of fact, it is yummy. This is my personal favorite. Traditional kraut, cabbage and salt, and thyme, nature, as Dad likes to say. And also, what's worth pointing out is, for those who think that this does look yummy and are interested in maybe taking some of this home, well, taking some of it home from a retail location, but if you're not in a position to purchase this stuff at a retail location, and retail locations where you can currently find this fine product are Keller Meats down at the Exchange Market in downtown Medina. They are stocked in the coolers there. Richardson Farms on Lafayette Road. As you're heading out of Medina down towards Lodi, right there on the right-hand side of the road, you will see Richardson Farms. Their coolers are chock full of our products as well. If you're in Medina and you're headed out towards Wadsworth or something like that, Destiny Farm over there on Granger Road is also stocking our products. And when I'm talking our products, in this case, I'm talking about these fermented foods. And you can also find where our products are located and will be located on the website at yorkmeadowfarm.com. And moreover, if you just simply want them shipped to your door, then boop, boop, beep, boop, you can type in your order at yorkmeadowfarm.com/shop. And we will do exactly that. We will send either fermented foods or bath and body products, natural bath and body products produced only with essential oils, pure essential oils, no fragrance oils, and botanicals and clays, no artificial nothing in the soaps. So if you want naturally fermented foods and naturally produced bath and body products, then York Meadow Farm is where you want to be shopping. And if you are a listener of this live stream and a supporter of the All Around Growth podcast, then you are eligible for a discount at checkout, a discount of 25% off of your entire order by utilizing the discount code All Around Growth. And that is our way, largely my way, of saying thank you for the support of the show, the support of my family and our business and everything that we're doing out here to try and do more for you, do more for our customers, and do more for the people that work the land with us and help those who work the land with us work the land. We're all in this together, and we're just trying to live a different life, live a better life, walk a new path. And we're all doing that together. And because we are doing that together, you get to participate in the added bonus, because you get to check out the behind the scenes action, listen to the show, and get that discounts for doing so, guys. So again, anybody that's out there watching Facebook, YouTube, and or Twitch, feel free to drop a comment. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you have any questions about the art of fermentation, what we're doing here and why. And the fact that I'm picking this out, I saw something that I didn't like in there. And now I'm not sure what I saw. So maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. But again, I do what I do because, well, some may argue that it's because I'm mildly anal retentive. And there are some who laugh at me for some of the measures that I take when making and packing this stuff. But I don't know. This is the way that I would want it done. I guess if I was the kraut guy myself. And if I had somebody, if I were in my father's shoes, I guess I'm just trying to work in a manner that is consistent with what I think I would want if I were him, which is kind of a weird thing to think about because I'm not. But that's always how I've tried to approach my work with wherever I did it, for myself, as an employee. I always tried to look at things through the lens of my employer or my manager. And I'm not sure that always was. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm quite confident that was rarely understood by my superiors. And I don't know what to say other than the fact that there's a reason why they're no longer my superiors. So, yeah, there's that. Definitely looking forward to wrapping this up and checking out the audio. Oh yeah, guys, we were talking earlier, and then I don't know what I got distracted by. But we're talking about the content creation and TikTok and whatnot. And you know, I had some reservations about live streaming from the kitchen. Like, was there going to be any interest in this? Who's really, like, really live streaming as I pack sauerkraut? What, really? Who's going to watch this? But when I heard other people were doing similar things, and when I took a brief 60-second little selfie video in here the other day and said, hey, what do you guys think about this? The response was quite surprising. And it was not really what I was expecting. So, and what I'm getting at is the response was that the interest was there. Like, yes, do this. It's the commercial kitchen's kind of cool. We'd love to see what you're doing back in there. And so I thought, okay, I guess we'll take a look at this and we'll show it off. Why not? So here we are, live streaming the scintillating act of packing Kraut Guy Jr., my favorite, a batch of traditional sauerkraut. And this was a batch that we started fermenting on August 29th. So it's been going for, depending on how we think about this, I think Dad would say 60 days. I'm going to say 59 because in my mind, right, this is one of these fun little disagreements that Dad and I have. But since I'm packing it today, I don't count today as a full day of ferment because, chances are when I or Dad made this on August 29th. Looks like my handwriting on the label. It's possible that it wasn't made until the afternoon. So anyways, minor detail, but basically we're looking at 8 weeks of fermentation on this particular batch of sauerkraut. And how long do you let your sauerkraut go? That's a good question. I actually did a podcast episode about this in the past. How do I know when my sauerkraut is ready? And I don't remember exactly what episode it is. And if anybody out there is listening and wants to go to allaroundgrowth.co and scroll down and tell me and drop it in the comments what episode was, how do I know when my sauerkraut is ready, I will send you a complimentary jar of this traditional batch. All right, so there you go. A little bonus for those who are watching, those who are interested in getting a little freebie. And the only caveat to this, in conjunction to dropping that link in the show notes, is that you've got to take a picture of yourself with that sauerkraut once it arrives and share it on social media. Then we can consider the deal done. So we got a few people out there. There's an opportunity for you to get a free jar of traditional sauerkraut. All you've got to do is go to allaroundgrowth.co and tell me what episode was the episode where we talked about when sauerkraut was ready. So that's right, that's allaroundgrowth.co. And anyone who's interested in a free, that's right, free jar of traditional kraut, all you've got to do is go to allaroundgrowth.co and let me know what episode of the show was the episode where we talked about how long it takes sauerkraut to be ready. Anyways, while I'm finishing packing up this little batch, we might as well talk a little bit about that. And the answer, in true permaculture fashion, regarding when is my sauerkraut ready, is it depends. It depends on the size batch that you are doing. It depends on the ambient temperature of the location where your ferments are kept. It depends on any number of things. For example, our commercial kitchen here, we keep everything at 70 degrees. And that constant temperature allows for consistent results with fermentation. Okay? So constant temperatures help with consistent results. And when you're doing this at scale, consistent results is what you want, because when people come back to buy your product time and again, the expectation that you can deliver the same thing is there. But when you're doing things at home for yourself, you know, by all means, experiment, mix it up a little bit, change your recipes, but document what you do. That's important. And always keep, just, a journal is best. But even if you have something simple like masking tape and a Sharpie marker, for example, that works. What do I mean by masking tape and a Sharpie marker? Well, for example, with the action cam here, let's take a look at this batch. And what I mean is something just as simple as that. You want to make sure that you label your batches accordingly, and that way everything is noted and documented in the case that you either have something that you want to repeat, or you experience some kind of failure and you want to understand why. The more detailed the notes, the better, but at the very least, make sure you have something documenting what the hell it is and the date that you started that ferment. That's always helpful. So again, how much time do you need? Well, it depends. You can have ferments complete in as little, it depends again on what you define as complete. But fermentation is, as soon as these things go under the brine and are submerged under the brine, lactofermentation begins, right? And as long as there's an anaerobic environment and the good bacteria outnumber the bad, the process of lactofermentation will continue until there's literally nothing else for the good bacteria to eat, right? And that generally takes a very long time. But we've let batches of, boy, I'd have to look back at the records to identify the longest time we've gone, but 80 days is not uncommon. And if there's a real rush to turn something around for whatever reason, in the case that a batch failed, or in the case that, like just the other day, we had a customer place an order for 3 cases. Shout out to Maurice Small. Thank you, Maurice, for the considerable order. We appreciate you. We love you. And I don't know what to say. It's an honor when orders of that magnitude come through, especially considering the history you have here with my family and our farm and everything. So thank you. You know, It's really a hell of a thing to think about sometimes, that this is how it's come to be now. This is how what we're doing. You know, it's awkward for me because my parents are still working. My dad works part-time, teaching math at a local college as an adjunct professor, and then of course, you know, he's the kraut guy, and that consists of certainly more than part-time job in addition to that. And mom works full-time as a nurse, and she still does, and in addition to that, makes all the soaps that she does, and the hand creams, and the bath bombs, and the shower fizzies, which will be online soon. Right now, online, you can find all of the bar soaps and the hand creams and the liquid hand soaps. Those are all available online. And we have yet to order or yet to get the bath bombs and shower fizzies on there. But if that's something that you're interested in, if there's any if there's something that I'm talking about now that you want, you just drop me an email at yorkmeadowfarm@gmail.com, and either myself or someone will get back to you, and be sure to let you know how we can help you out, and what we've got that may not be available on the website, because not everything is. Some things that we don't make enough volume of, that we really only bring to market, those aren't on the website. We actually debated on listing kimchi online because we wanted to reserve that, if you will, for the market customers, but there was such a demand for it that we decided to indeed launch that online. And there is still some available online. Maurice didn't clear us out of all of it. And luckily, I see another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-gallon jars of fermenting kimchi in various stages back there, which means at a minimum we've got another 8 to 9 cases of kimchi in the house. So have no fear, guys. When we do things like stock the product at Richardson's, and then Stephanie posts a picture of the restocked cooler, and then somebody sees it and goes up there and buys all the kimchi in stock, have no fear, because we've always got more of your favorite products in production. And if they're not currently in production, it's just because we are having some, dare I say, challenges. But when the seasons change, your suppliers must change. And we are working on a different seasonal cucumber hookup. So we will have pickles back in the rotation, hopefully within a couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll have them by New Year's. bread and butters are much quicker turnaround time. The garlic dills and the full sour New York deli pickles, they take a little bit longer because they are a truly fermented pickle, unlike most pickles that you see in your favorite retail locations. Most pickles that you see are simply a vinegar pickle, and I want to be quite clear that there is nothing wrong with a vinegar pickle, but that's just not what we do. That's not our preference. We prefer a fermented pickle, either in the form of a full sour or a half sour, known as our garlic dills. And we find that our customers do too. Although Mom and our customers insist that we make bread and butters. So we certainly do. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a big fan of the bread and butters, but boy, people really seem to like them. I don't know if you guys can hear what's playing in the background here, but we've got a little bit of music to accompany this packing afternoon, evening. And when we get to some solid jams, I'll go ahead and turn it up so you guys can get a better idea of what I'm listening to. And I'd love to hear some comments, see some comments from anybody out there who can be adventurous and take a guess as to what I'm listening to. Any guesses are welcome. Any guesses are welcome. Okay, it's been kind of a slow day out there outside of one comment from somebody out there on Facebook thinking that this stuff looks yummy. But as time goes on, and as we continue moving forward with the live streams, I believe we're going to try and do something with a little bit more consistency. And I was thinking about that today and actually doing this earlier, but I was out in the woods earlier with Cody, and that was, I didn't want to lose the opportunity to spend some time with him, and that was nice. So it was nice to get out into the woods and just have some nature time. It's honestly something I feel like I should do a bit more of here, considering that it's literally in my backyard. It literally is my backyard. So it looks like we are at 29 jars right now. We are probably going to get, I don't know. We'll see how many we get out of here. 32, 33. That's usually about what we can get out of a batch. And then, depending on the batch, we will get 4 or 5 bottles of brine. And the brine is a relatively new product that we started offering. Brine is something that we first started bringing to market as just a talking point. I brought it up in, well, one of these bottles. One of these bottles. These bottles are great because they are easily accessible. Excuse me. They're easily accessible from Aldi. They sell this carbonated lemonade in them, which certainly isn't an acceptable beverage for those of you who are keto, paleo, and the like. But for the cost of the lemonade, the bottle is well worth it, because I think it's like $1.99, or that's what they used to be. And they're great for kombucha. So Mom and I used to buy them en masse when we were doing a lot more kombucha and a lot of flavored kombuchas. They're great for your secondary ferment, because you can just throw some frozen berries in there, or some juice, or whatever you want to use for your secondary ferment, and then just seal those things up and get some excellent carbonation and what have you there. But we've since slowed down, or, well, I've stopped the kombucha production. Mom's still going with it. But we ended up bringing some of this brine in some of these bottles up there, because I was walking around a grocery store somewhere and I saw a product called Gut Shots, and that's exactly what it was. It was sauerkraut brine, and it looks like we're going to have a sample jar here. So I offer, I had the idea that we would just print a traditional kraut label on it and bring up some of this extra brine, which you're about to see here in just a moment, and throw a little sign up that said free gut shots. And that's exactly what we did. And within just a matter of weeks, people were saying, "Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. What can we do? How can we get this stuff? Where can we buy this?" And we decided to start bottling all the excess of what you see here, because what you see here is the brine, which simply gets topped off and in these jars just a little bit, just a little smidge, so that oxidation that I talked about in the beginning is less prone to occur once these jars are opened by the customer, right? So we just top it off with basically what is the equivalent of, I would say, 2 to 3 tablespoons of brine, if that, in each one of these little jars. And then the excess, yeah, we took that up to market and we're offering that as gut shots. And people said, hey, this brine is pretty good. It's like pickle juice, but better. And we bought the bottles that you're going to see here in just a moment. And we started bottling up pickle brine. I mean, sauerkraut brine, rather. We have had a lot of feedback on the brines. People are using the brines in mixed drinks, like martinis, especially with the traditional. And with brines like the jalapeno cilantro and the kimchi, those seem to be a big hit with people who enjoy Bloody Marys. People have mentioned that they use the curtido brine as a marinade for pork and chicken. And oftentimes, Dad and I will just keep a brine in the fridge and just do little shooters of it in the morning in place of how people would use apple cider vinegar, you know, like a shot of that and some water, like a little tonic. And so, yeah, needless to say, the brine's been a big hit. And just like that, just about measured it perfectly. Everything looks pretty good. We'll add a little bit more to just a few of these. Not that it's overly necessary, but again, perhaps this is just me being mildly anal retentive with the end product. Perhaps. But got to get some labels here, or some lids rather. And then at some point, Dad will be out, or I will head on in and let him know we need labels printed up, and we'll get these things labeled up. And that, my friends, is how things go. That is how your sauerkraut is packed. By hand, oftentimes by yours truly, if not by yours truly, by the kraut guy himself. Packed with care, packed with love, and packed with a hungry belly. One that's looking forward to eating the remnants of what's non-saleable, where I just dropped that lid. Then the final step, after initially just getting these, I feel like one of these isn't seated. We get these on just barely finger tight. And then we fill the brine bottles, do the same. And then what we do is I deglove and we wipe the outsides of these jars and get them ready for the final labeling. Again, another not so scintillating piece of the action, but it is part of the deal. It's part of how your sauerkraut is made, and because we are all about truth and transparency with the product that we make, got to add a little bit to our sample jar here. We want to make sure that you know exactly what we do. So we've got that going. We're going to grab a few jars here for some brine. Don't really know how many we're going to get, but we'll see. Whoops. It's always deceiving how much brine you're going to get. I never can tell. I always think it's going to be less than it actually is. So I used the old 200 micron, whoopsies, filter that I used to use for kombucha. That one's full. And it seems to work pretty well to keep out any little bits of cabbage. And that's really all that would be there in this case is cabbage. In the case of other ferments, we've got cabbage, onions, all manner of things in there, but this traditional is a pretty simple recipe. You got cabbage and salt. That's it. Well, looks like we've got 2 brines and a sample here, guys. So could have possibly had a third if I didn't pour that first bottle so full. Not really, but it was a healthy pour. Just like the healthy samples that you get. If you come to the farmer's market, what you end up getting when you get samples dished out by yours truly is a sample of the highest quality. They're big, they're tasty, and more often than not, they leave the customer feeling satisfied. Okay, so this is it. This is the final step. One final wipe down. Getting them cleaned up and ready for labeling. And then we put them in cases, put them in the walk-in cooler where everything is ready for sale, whether it's market whether it's online or whether it's to our retail customers. And guys, if you want to find out where our retail locations are, you can simply go to yorkmeadowfarm.com/retail. If you want to find out where we are currently at market, you can go to yorkmeadowfarm.com/market, or just simply go to yorkmeadowfarm.com. Check it out. Subscribe to the newsletter where you can get updates from the farm and homestead, everything that's going on here, discount codes and updates on new products. And even though you'll be eligible in getting discount codes and whatnot on products through the website, the best way to get optimal savings is through the discount code all around growth, which you can put in at checkout when you order. And listeners of the show, watchers of the live stream, either now live or at any point in the future, supporters of the All Around Growth podcast and our endeavors with this are the best that anyone can get. There may even be better savings than what you'll get with the All Around Growth code by joining us at the Telegram group, t.me/allaroundgrowth. That's where I personally am most active on these various social media platforms, and I would love to see you there too. So check it out if you're not already there, t.me/allaroundgrowth. You know, I have some friends, more so family members, who have been reluctant to, either like come out if they think I'm live streaming or maybe join in some of the things that I do online. And I would encourage you to, if you are one of those people, don't feel that way by all means, and be involved. If you know me, it's because if you don't, it's only a matter of time before you do. This podcast has resulted in a little bit of a community that intersects and networks within a number of other communities. And those communities end up meeting in person, and we form relationships and friendships, and it's kind of awesome. And you can do that too. No matter where you are, no matter where you live, the networks that I'm talking about run deep, and they are vast. And it doesn't take much except a little bit of time, effort, and energy on your part to participate in them. So if that is of any interest to you guys, one easy and great way that you can do that is through allaroundgrowth.co or allaroundgrowth, t.me/allaroundgrowth. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream. It's been a pleasure packing traditional sauerkraut with you. Thank you to those of you who watched, and for those of you who've watched in the future, thanks again. You can definitely like and support this by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell on future live streams so that you can catch this live and interact with me while I'm doing what I'm doing. Packing kraut, making kraut, or just hanging out in the kitchen. So until next time, guys, we'll see you later. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.